You know, when I was a little boy, between age 3 and 6, I couldn't walk up that driveway. I had an operation which fixed my adductors and one heel cord, and now I can walk. This video is about one of the worst times in my life, and I'm talking about this is why I'm not overly freaked out about the pandemic or having to wear a mask or anything like that. It's because I've been through worse things before. Check it out. Hi. Here we go. I have cerebral palsy, and most of you know this. But what you don't know is that I also work with people who have disabilities. On Friday, I had a conversation with one of my clients. We were watching a news story on how some people just refuse to wear masks in the face of what's going on right now. With some people calling it treason or something like that. When wearing a mask is more like covering your mouth and nose when you sneeze. But like I said, I've been through worse times than this, and it makes wearing a mask a minor inconvenience. I had to get an operation to help me walk. If I hadn't gotten the operation, I might have had braces or crutches. My parents and I saw a doctor at the hospital in New Hampshire where I was born. The doctor wanted to fit me with crutches or braces, but it wasn't what my parents wanted. Don't get me wrong, many people have them and they work really well, but my parents wanted me to walk as unassisted as possible. Dad called his cousin, who was a rehabilitation doctor in Boston. My father's cousin got in touch with a guy named Dr. Banks. He had pioneered this new operation to stretch the adductors in addition to the heel cord, and so people with cerebral palsy, my type of cerebral palsy, spastic cerebral palsy, could move more freely. When Dr. Banks saw me, he told my parents that I'd be able to walk, and he started me out with short braces, and I was also fitted for night casts. There were two big inconveniences about night casts. The first was that it was hard to move around when you sleep because my legs weren't bent, my ankles weren't bent. And the second thing, which was more inconvenient, was that I had to scream for my parents every time I needed to use the bathroom at night. Imagine being woken up by the urge need to go to the bathroom, and you have to scream for your parents. Mom, dad, over and over again, until they get up at like 2:30 in the morning, which is hard for them because probably they had to work at 8 and they didn't, but it was just a big inconvenience. I'm sure you can realize that. When I was 6, I had an operation where Dr. Banks cut my adductors and my heel cord, my left heel cord, so it would loosen my body up and made me balance more easily on my own 2 feet. Before then, I was walking on my tiptoes, and as you can guess, if you don't have enough, contact with the ground and enough flexibility, walking is pretty dangerous. So here I am in the hospital after the operation. I'm grimacing from the pain. My legs are spread 30 inches apart. I'm not very tall, and I only weigh about 33 pounds. Well, 30 pounds after I got out of the hospital. They had to recast my feet the first night because during the first night, I was in so much pain that my feet broke the cast. Every 6 hours when I was in the hospital, I had to be flipped like a pancake. On my front, on my back, 6 hours on my front, 6 hours on my back. I like being on my front because, as you can see, I had toys under this thing I was laying on. But if I was on my back, there was pretty much nothing to do, and there was a TV, but I don't remember it being on. My family visited a couple of times, but Mom and Dad had to work. And my Uncle George and Aunt Ann visited me and brought me a signed baseball from the Red Sox that I still have. The signatures have been worn off because when my brother was 7, he decided to use it as a real baseball. But I still have the ball. Anyway, I spent a week in the hospital, but I was 6 and I couldn't keep track of time. So it felt to me like it was 3.5 weeks. My parents took me home at the end of the week. 3.5 weeks for me. And I was getting wheeled in a car when my 3-year-old brother, who was on top of me on the stretcher, licked my face because he couldn't express how happy he felt that I was coming home. So I was in a body cast almost all summer from May to the end of July. I couldn't go out regularly. I saw my grandparents, I think, once. Here's a picture. I couldn't even laugh because laughter made my body shake and my legs hurt, and I ended up crying. Laughter turning to crying. That really upset my friends who were over because, it just, nobody likes to see people in pain. But at the end of summer, I went to see my other grandparents in Hawaii. I got on a plane in a wheelchair. Here's that picture with my brother. My brother and me in the wheelchair. When I was in Hawaii, I went to the Bishop Museum, which is the Hawaiian Heritage Museum. I was on crutches and I decided to go off by myself because I was so interested in the displays. My parents found me on the second floor with my crutches at one end of the display, and I was on the other end, putting myself along on my rail. I was so interested in the display, which had everything from pictures to weapons, that I forgot I needed crutches. I pulled myself around using the railing for support. When my plane landed in Boston, I walked down the gangplank. I didn't use a wheelchair. Today I use wheelchairs at the airport because of my asthma. I have really bad asthma, and I almost died because of my asthma. It's quicker to have someone whisk me to the gate instead of potentially missing my flight. And wheelchairs keep me safe, just like the mask I wear in the store. They're all just tools to get me where I need to go safely. And that's why wearing a mask isn't really a big deal for me. If you like this video, click like, subscribe, and comment. Have a good day.